some teachers here have started teaching ICT. Right from nursery, you find some schools teaching. So we are going to hear from them briefly what they are doing. And then from there, we shall have Mr. Tuhame, an ICT specialist at NCDC, who is going to share with us some insights. And then from there, we shall get reactions from other members on what they think is good enough for primary curriculum. Okay, so okay, so I'm going to start by sharing here a screen. I don't know whether members can be able to see this. I'm going to make it bigger so that members can be able to see. Yeah, so we started by, I'm going to start by talking about the rationale, and which I wrote some article here on the website of ITAU about primary schools curriculum. The photo which is here on this article is a photo taken from ARC School, Naguru campus. It is a primary school, but they teach ICT. They teach ICT at this school, and we have been seeing Mr. Raphael has been sharing about how they are teaching ICT at their school, and we have been wondering what they are teaching. Sometimes he comes and shows us kids programming. Sometimes the kids are doing this and that. So some things which even we don't teach at secondary. So that's why we kept on seeing many teachers joining the ITAU platform. Teachers were keeping on asking, what can I teach primary kids? So sometimes we could tell them to use the A-level syllabus since it was better outlined as compared to the O-level syllabus. And some schools came up and they made their own curriculums, and some schools came up and made their own curriculums. For example, let me show you this one. Let me show you this one of this one is a curriculum for. I hope you are able to see. This is the curriculum for Dream Africa schools. So they made the curriculum here, and they sat as a department and they thought of what to teach primary children. So they came up with this curriculum here for lower primary, and they came up with a number of things right from P1 up to P7. Yeah, some schools they teach only a few classes, maybe from P4 to P6. They don't teach P7 since it's a candidate class. Others teach all through, and it is fashionable these days. All the schools, they think if they tell their parents that they are teaching ICT, it is fashionable for a school to teach ICT. So we thought of can we bring together teachers and asking them what they think should be taught. So we came up with in the WhatsApp group for ICT teachers of primary schools, where teachers came up with a number of ideas. So briefly, that is I'll be talking later about some of the topics that we thought should be taught at this level. Okay, thank you very much. That is just a brief introduction. Now, at this time, I want to invite some teachers. If you are a teacher of primary school, in a primary school, and you are teaching, you are teaching computer studies or ICT, I want you to tell us, one, is it a timetabled subject? Is it just something by the way? Do you have a standard curriculum you're using to teach? Yeah, just share with us briefly. How do you call the subject? Do you call it ICT or computer studies? Briefly, I'm going to start with if you are, there is a feature here for raising up a hand. You can use it. Mr. Rafili, are you there? Mr. Rafil. Okay, any member here, any teacher who, Mr. Bwambali? Mr. Bwambali?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, share with us briefly, what do you think about ICT in primary schools. Do you have any experiences you want to share?
Yes, I do. First and foremost, I would like to thank all the members for being able to attend this Zoom meeting, leaving aside the presidential State of the Nation address, so that we are able to come up with this primary ICT syllabus.
Okay.
Yes, you are going through hard times. I guess some members might have been left behind due to data costs, depending on the consumption rates of their different devices. Now, to go directly to the subject, then the name now. Previously, we began with the what is supposed to be taught. Then, as we kept on moving, then members now came in. Should we call it ICT? Should we call it computer studies? Should we call it computer literacy? But we get to see that where we are now, these are key. These are, to me, when it comes to the primary section, we are dealing with kids, especially to the lower section. Then at the upper section, somehow have these now the actual pupils who can say do this, then he does it. So preferably, if we call it literacy, it will mean we are somehow narrowing it to the lower level. So I'll just go in with the general term, the ICT, because most of them are fond of playing with these common devices. So,
actually, Mr. Wambali.
I would. Yes,
Mr. Wambali, I realize that primary there are some subjects called literacy 1, literacy 2. Don't you think if we could call it literacy 3 ICT, it could go could be embedded within I don't know, because at O level we had the computer studies now called ICT, and A level it is subsidiary ICT. So maybe the name can be anything, I think, but you can continue with your submission.
So when we narrow it down to the, because when I come back to your comment of the literacy, you get when they get to the upper primary, literacy is left behind. And one of my wishes is that let ICT be examinable. Let it continue up to the upper levels.
Up to P7.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
That is my request to our chief guest today.
Thank you very much. Someone has put up a hand. Mr. Banya Ojo, please go ahead. Mr. Banya Ojok, are you able to hear me? Mr. Banya Ojok. Okay, members who have just joined us, welcome. Mr. Rafael Musime. Musime.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, welcome. You're from Aka School, Primary School, isn't it?
No.
Okay, you share with us. What do you think about are you teaching at primary school?
No, I'm a high school teacher.
You're a high school teacher. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, we shall be getting time for reactions later on. I wanted to get 2-3 teachers from primary school who can share with us their experiences. Okay, Shiba, are you there? Shiba.
Yes, please.
Yes, go ahead and share with us.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers. Now, I teach in primary, though we use the international curriculum.
Okay.
So I don't know whether really it can be of help, or you only
it can be of help. What do you teach? What do you teach in the international curriculum?
I teach ICT, but it's called digital literacy. Though we teach starting from the okay, let me call it P1. That's year 1. All throughout up to secondary. But my experience is with these students, they have exposure to gadgets and other things. What to teach at home, they can practice at home. They can even ask you something that is way beyond what you've not yet covered. Like, since they have the equipment and it gets very easy for them when you're
Oh,
that's my experience.
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing that experience. Okay, Mr. Dumba, Stephen, are you able to get us?
Yes. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Dumba, do you teach any young children at his own school?
Yeah, I do teach young children from around the age of 7 to 12. Those are the young children I teach these days.
What do you teach?
I introduce them to computer, like the parts of a computer, how to put it together, how to switch it on, and then use like Paint, Microsoft Word, a little of Excel, just a little of Excel. Although I don't teach them database yet, but so far that's what I've been teaching.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, now that is good. Thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, now according to our agenda here, I wanted to share experiences from from what members on ground are teaching, and then I'm going to first get some I want to first hear from Mr. Tuhami. Mr. Tuhami, I don't know whether you are hearing us. The question is, there are some curriculums for computer studies right now and ICT, and we have really been having a challenge because they are the same things we are teaching at O level and A level. And now when we are thinking of the primary school curriculum, we are thinking of the same things. What do you think about this duplication? Mr. Tuhami?
Yes, Sir Rogers. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we are getting you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, it's good. Thanks for arranging this conference.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, we are getting you.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one. And I don't know where to start from. At the moment, we teach ICT at secondary level, O level, A level. Maybe what you didn't mention, we do the same at university, at other tertiary institutions, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so what is taught when they get to university, when the students get to university, you find we're again teaching them introduction to computer and all that stuff. Yeah?
Yes.
That is one part. Then there is also a possibility at the moment that the student can go up to university without studying about a computer. Yeah?
Yes.
So what is missing at the moment, we don't have yet an ICT policy for education from the Ministry of Education.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we are getting you.
Now, once the policy is finalized, then there is what we call a skills framework being developed.
Okay.
What the skills framework does is to know that, is to identify the skills required at primary, skills required at secondary, skills required at tertiary levels and university. Then once that is spelled out, then we start fixing the right content for the right category.
Okay.
Now, what you see at the moment is something kind of a placeholder, because what is taught is not according to a structured skills framework.
Okay.
And with the current reform of the lower secondary, the design is to have the ICT literacy at O level. By S2, people have picked the basic skills. Senior 3, 4, they opt for the subject, those who want to major in it. Then if that is to work out, if that works out, then we go to A level and the duplication is removed.
Okay.
And if that is done, we get to university and have it sorted, as well as sorting the primary, because at the moment, the curricula we have does not have the content.
Okay.
For primary.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Tuhame, there is this issue of like at O level, there has been programming, elementary programming using the C and Visual Basic, and many teachers actually they say that programming is too hard for O level students. It should be at maybe university, and they were not teaching it. But there are some schools like ACT School. I want Mr. Ayo Raphael to come in here and share with us, because they have been teaching programming at primary. I want him to share with us what he thinks about what should be taught. Then you'll come in later on as well. Mr. Ayo, are you able to hear us? Okay, Mr.
Are you getting me clear?
Yes, we are getting you.
All right, thank you. So actually, basically, to my point of acknowledgement, I see that it has been a very difficult point for us to participate and see how we can upgrade our learners from primary to secondary. Because in a way around, you find that what we have been teaching in primary, exactly going to secondary, they are teaching the same thing. When you get to other institutions, they're teaching the same thing. When you get to the university, they're beginning from the same point. So I see that actually what I personally have been teaching also to ACT School for this 4 years, it has been giving a lot of difficulty for these learners. When they get to the secondary level, they get such kind of difficulty. They keep on asking, "Oh, I've learned this thing here. Why are you repeating the same thing?" So it will be very important now to see that the breakdown should be given out, whereby we know that from primary, we teach from this part and stop to a particular part. And secondly, begin from there. So I think it's very important to come up with such kind of point to help us to know that things are running smoothly in the education department as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, there is this issue. I want Mr. Tumusime. Yeah, Mr. Tumusime is off. Okay, okay. Maybe before I leave you, Mr. Ayo,
yes, please.
When it comes to the way how you are teaching, is it well timetabled? Is it like any other subject, like science and mathematics? And are you giving these lessons to all the learners?
Yes, actually, the way we have set it, we have come out with a simplified curriculum and a simplified syllabus, whereby it helps us to teach and we are able to grade them. As per our school, we're able to grade them accordingly. I know that the one going to primary 2 is able to do this from this point and able to pass it at the end of the day. Not that whereby when PLA come in, well, when the PLA come in, they don't do that one, but we endeavor that we give our learners also certificate that they have learned this thing from a particular point to this stage. So we have that systematic programming where we have already done to know that our ICT is running smoothly and more effectively.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, Madam Barbara, are you there? Madam Barbara. Okay, Madam Barbara is okay. Now, as we shall be getting more people to, in case you have something to say, you can raise a hand under the Zoom, and I will give you a chance to give a submission. Now, at this time, I want to share something here about what we were proposing. What we were proposing for the O-level curriculum, and I want to share something here. So these are the topics that we thought could be important in the draft. This draft, we are making this draft because it is just for the meantime, because already some schools have started implementing. So whenever they inquire from us, the fellow members, we can always send them something to refer to. They can modify and customize according to their needs. And we thought of one in primary in P1 to have the topics of the ICT, information, like sources of information. You see, it may be someone may see it as if it is complicated, but depending on how it is delivered. Yeah, so in an illustrative way, just the way they teach other things, like they teach religious education or any other subject, they can find ways of simplifying these concepts. Then communication and technology. So we are seeing here in primary, in term 3, that's when kids are being introduced to ICT devices for children. As we can realize right now, many parents have given their kids tablets, and these kids learn how to use tablets right from when they are young. So we thought primary, we don't start by teaching the computer itself, but we start by teaching ICT and the devices, like they are using some of these apps. Okay, so that is P1. That's what we thought of for P1. Then, yes. Someone has raised up a hand. Okay, let me quickly go through this. So, okay, let me first go back to here. So the draft syllabus, I'm going to put the draft things on the website, the one we're drafting. And what we wanted to do is members to give us, what do you think is being left out? So I'm putting the link in the chat. Those who have not accessed it, you can be able to read through it, and then you can be able to give some suggestions. So we are going to be looking at level by level, class by class. Senior 1, we are talking about ICT devices. Then maybe senior, then the real computer now can maybe come in, like maybe we'll start by mouse, then slowly, but not starting with Microsoft Word in P1. Yeah, so that is what you were thinking, such that you can have something that can be able to feed in. Okay, let me give Mr. Ojok first gives a reaction, and then after that we shall be able to members, maybe before maybe I give Mr. Ojok and Mr. Tuhame here. This session, we are going to have 2 sessions. After this session, we are going to pause like for 5 minutes or 3 minutes, and we shall join using the same link and join back. After, then we shall do the final bit of the questions and the rest. Yeah, Mr. Ojok, what do you want to say?
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes.
All right. So when we're talking about ICT, more especially talking about the computer, we know that there is a lot of difficulties for persons with visual impairment or learners with visual impairment accessing a computer, because there is a lot of accessories required. So, and most government schools do not teach ICT. It's mostly private schools, which are even expensive. And so what about children who attend primary schools where they do not access a computer with activities, screen readers and visual, modifications and all that. So the teachers who are teaching here, do they experience such kind of things? Or even at university, I don't know which university our fellow is teaching, but what about those children with visual impairment? How do they access computer? How do they teach them?
Okay.
Is there an integrated curriculum that you have that caters for learners with visual impairment?
Okay, Madam Barbara, are you able to get us?
Yes, yes, I can get you.
Okay, someone is asking here about university, and I don't know whether you had this question. This cuts across when we are making these curriculums, whether we make consideration for other children without with vision impairment and all that. But I saw your hand raised that you can give some submission.
That's a very challenging question.
Mm.
I work for the University of Kisumu.
Mm.
They took us a training through inclusive learning.
Mm.
So it is up to the lecturer to be creative with her students. Yeah, but we don't have a special program for students with special needs. However, our entire curriculum appreciates special needs education. We have an entire course about special needs. Though there isn't a specific course or treatment for them.
Okay.
However, in future we are thinking about a degree in inclusive education.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing. Yeah, Mr. Tuhami, I see your hand up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. You're displaying the syllabus you are proposing some time back.
Yes.
And I saw word process, I saw communication technology, information. Then when Dumba submitted that for him, he trains these people in Word and Excel, but does not train in that one. So go to P1, scroll to P1, primary one. Now, you know, we need to possibly go back to designing curriculum and the steps involved and the different levels of learners. Because in P1, we need to understand what these people are learning in other subjects.
Okay.
Like literacy one, they are learning to construct words, they are learning to add numbers, you know. So as we think about some of this content, we need to put that into consideration. For me, I would think we should be looking at the games where they are dragging objects, where they are doing this and that. Let's not think about word processing. It's not, those things are too advanced. If they are doing matching, you know, matching this object to that object, that is could be literacy one or whatever. Then now they use the technology to match. As they match, they know how to drag.
Okay.
They can switch on the computer, that's fine, they can start it and they master it. But these other nitty-gritties, telling them about information sources, that is none of their business and they will not pick it.
Okay.
So as we develop this curriculum, we need to forget about this method of word process Excel, but to have it integrated and then mind about their level and what they can understand in line with the other subjects they are doing.
Okay. So that is integration across.
Yeah, there's basically should be integration. If they are playing a video, they are singing, then there is this phonics, joy phonics, those sounds. They click there, it talks, but to tell them that, you know, information can be got from this, they won't concentrate. These fellows cannot concentrate for so long.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much for that submission. Yeah. Actually, what you are saying, we were trying to look at some syllabuses for other countries. We tried to look at other countries, what they are doing, and we realized, like in India, there are some links which I indicated on the web page where we wrote about this. There are some links there at the bottom for other syllabuses, for other countries. There are some links here, even there are some links for, there's ECDL syllabus for kids, then there's syllabus for primary schools, government of Malta, then curriculum in India, then Zimbabwe. This Zimbabwe was a big challenge because they have a syllabus for nursery, for primary, for O level and A level for ICT. And what you have been what you have been talking about of ICT integration, I saw it in one of these curriculums, whereby they were not necessarily, I think that was India, where they are not necessarily teaching ICT, but having ICT to aid teaching of other subjects. Members who have just joined us, I can see Mr. Mkisa. Mr. Mkisa, are you able to hear us?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm hearing.
Yeah. Welcome. Have you ever taught young children?
Yes, I've taught.
Okay.
Yes.
What do you think young children should learn on the computer?
Basically, I normally talk about digital literacy. It's more practical that they should learn more practicals, and they should be, these things the notes we give them should be instructions.
Okay.
And not to re-internalize the set, but practical. So if you can Google about digital literacy, is a new basic digital skills that when we are teaching ICT, the only practical, according to the curriculum of Uganda, the only practical things we do is Word, Excel, PowerPoint, whereby some teachers who are not innovative, a child ends up studying in nursery, studying those applications in primary, computer applications in primary, in nursery, in secondary, O level, A level, university, without knowing how to even to open an email address himself. But when you look at the digital literacy curriculum, I'll share with you the outlines of.
Yeah, you can share with us. You can share with us a link in the chat.
Yes.
Because right now we are trying to benchmark and see something which will not be too much for our children, but something which is important and relevant for them. Okay, now, so what I'm going to do before we continue with the discussion, I want to first show all the other topics that we had thought of that will be important. Are you able to see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so we thought, one, there is this topic of introduction to ICT devices. That's where the games are, and we had suggested some games here. And these games, some teachers were thinking that games are not supposed to be taught, saying that games are just playing. But like Mr. Tuhami has just been saying, games can teach children some skills across other subjects, and also ICT skills like dragging and all that. So that one we had suggested there. Now, in P2, we had sort of mouse skills and keyboard skills. Keyboard is like there's this finger typing. If children can learn from the start, from childhood now to type, because the future for the children, they are going to be doing more of typing than writing. So it is very important to build those skills. Right now at O level, there's a little time given to keyboard skills. So children reach UNEB when they don't even know how to type. They take a full hour typing a document. Then there's some more theory there. Then there's implicitly we thought of a computer system so that the children can appreciate, and also Windows, more keyboard skills there. P4, that's where we are bringing in hardware as a topic, and software, and then Word. Actually, Word is coming in at P4. So right from lower primary, they are just using the ICT devices and their keyboard and mouse and games and all that. And we thought P4 we would have the word processing at that level. Then P5 we thought of file management. File management, children learning how to use files and folders. File management is very important. Renaming and all that. Our teachers, even at all level, they don't give this topic much time, and it would be good. Then PowerPoint presentations, we thought it would be good to bring in them at P5 level, so that kids can start making presentations which they can use also for other projects. Then we thought of Excel, since kids do mathematics. So, and these are too many years, 7 years. So we thought maybe some basic Excel could help. Then in P6, we thought of desktop publications. This is a project software where kids can do these certificates and flyers and all that. Then programming foundations, calling it programming foundations, meaning that we are not looking at really a programming language like C or Visual Basic, but we are dealing with a programming, we are using programming, we are softwares which teach programming skills. So there are some which are recommended here, like the blocky games, the Scratch. Some of these, you see, our teachers really don't even know these softwares. So when we tell them about programming, they think it is very, very, very difficult. One of the applications which we are trying to identify is called there's this thing called Smile. A link is there on the web page. There are some applications like this one called logo programming. There's this blocky games. Learn how to program. Some of these they can teach the learners some of these skills. So when they go to the higher levels, for example, university or level, then the inherent skills can be easy for them to do. Yeah, so this is one of the things. So there is a demo for some of the tools that teachers can use. So this one here is a programming application called the Blocky Games. I think there's something like a maze. So teachers really, so you can find here there is turn left, move forward, run a program. So these are some of the things that we thought could help the learners to appreciate. So we are not teaching them C or Visual Basic at this level, but we are teaching them programming foundations and Scratch. Then term 3, internet. Internet is very important these days. Right now, kids are at home and they are using internet to learn. Then finally, in P7, we thought of email and social media. Some schools, they block Facebook, but we think we need to teach them so that they know how to use it well, and netiquette, the bad areas. Then digital libraries for research. This can also be helping in integration, some of the digital libraries, so that the kids can be able to research. Then ICT integration, it is here in P7 last time, but I think it should cut across all the classes from P1 up to P7. Yeah, members, have you seen that? Have you seen have you been here following through?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Eli, what do you think about the proposed topics? Are they too hard? What should we remove? What should we add on that outline? Mr. Eli, please go ahead, Mr. Eli Orishaba.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Rogers. Good evening, everyone, and I'm happy to be part of this meeting. I've been following up closely, and actually, I really appreciate the way we are moving. I believe we'll be there. As Mr. Mohammed was talking about the policy creation at the middle of education, us on our side as teachers, we should now be doing the technical part as we wait for the policy to come into play. So very many people, you see, they are having that challenge of, you see, we are duplicating things at O level, at primary. The reason I think is because we are looking at ICT being a knowledge-based subject and a subject. So may I think if we strategized and made this ICT skill-based, we wouldn't be having this education that we are talking about. We find that things would be able to run smoothly. Like for example, where you talked about programming, people fear programming because they think it is C, it is maybe PHP or what, or that strong programming languages. But to me, I still believe that with programming, it can help you, like it can help us do this. It can contribute creative thinking, creativity, innovations. And remember, these kids, we look at them as kids, but trust me, these young boys and girls have intelligent brains. If you left this child to exercise what he or she feels he should be doing, trust me, you will see wonders. So I liked that idea of having those introduction to programming. It is very nice. I really like it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Tuhame, I see your hand up. Please.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, let me pick it from programming. Hello?
Yes.
And possibly I give an example of these pupils when they are doing modeling with the clay. In the villages, we used to make those cars. You can hear me?
Yes.
So when they are doing that, you put a tire so that it moves the other side. And what we need is them to do those things as they program their whatever programming. So as I've mentioned earlier, we need to look at other subjects. So as you do your programming, they program what they have learned so that it is not looked at in isolation as a standalone. The way we teach it, that's why we have had issues. So we need to look at the other subjects, what have they done, what have they studied, which skills, instead of giving them clay to model or go to the bushes and make cars, now you make it through the programming. Then there's this thing I saw, email and social media. We need again to look at the other side, like Facebook. If you abuse Facebook, what minimum age are we looking at? And at which age do we want to teach social media? So there are some technicalities in some of those things as we want to teach them. We need to look at that bigger picture of the policy, whether they need social media at this age. Then when they learn it, they need to practice it. Is it recommended? Then that's why now the issue of policy comes in. We need to look at the policy so much because whatever we do has to be fitting in the framework of the Ministry of Education. Yeah. Then maybe lastly, the ICT integration part. Hello?
Yes.
The integration, I think you remove it so that it comes across. It goes into the preface or introduction of the syllabus, and they use it across. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Onen, are you able to hear us? Mr. Onen?
Yes, I can hear you.
I saw you clapping. What are you clapping for?
Oh, thank you very much. Actually, it's unfortunate that I missed the first session. I got knocked off by a connection. Otherwise, I wanted to share an experience, which probably time may not allow for now, but I could just give you a brief idea. I work for an organization called Oysters and Pearls Uganda, and we cultivate education and technology for marginalized populations. So the whole of last year, we piloted a curriculum for primary school, but basically for teaching learners with visual impairment how to use the computer. And I would feel it's very necessary that the element of special needs component has to be brought in the curriculum.
Okay.
Our curriculum was basically for P4.
Okay.
So I would be glad to share with you a lot more if the team that is working on this this paperwork is interested.
Okay.
Otherwise, the only difference is that since the learners with visual impairment have don't use their vision and the mouse lots of time, especially those with severe visual impairment. Of course, there are those that would have to have the screen magnified a little bit, and then there are those who strictly use screen reading softwares to interact with the computer. Except those particular skills, the rest of they learn basically the same things. Okay, so I wonder if the team that is working on this paper has tried to do some consultations or review literature or resources on the aspect of making the curriculum as inclusive. I don't know.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And actually, we shall really be grateful for that input. Like we are saying right now, this is one of the forums through which we are putting minds together to come up with something that can guide us for, yeah. I can see Mr. Sadiq. Mr. Sadiq said, "Are you able to hear us?" Mr. Sadiq. Mr. Sadiq. You try to, I think you are not muted. Okay, I'm going to try to unmute. Okay, you can go ahead.
Are you getting me, members?
Yes.
Okay, I'm very sorry I had to come out for the forum very late. And I've seen everybody has cruised, and I'm very happy about the turn up. But I'm just unfortunate that I've joined people late. That's why I was trying to catch up where I can fit exactly.
Okay. Okay, I normally see you with young children there in I don't know whether in Koboko. I don't know whether there is ICT there. By the way, one of the things which has always been hindering the curriculum has been the issue that primary schools, how many primary schools have labs? Like when subsidiary ICT was being introduced, there was an argument that there are no computers. So in Koboko, I don't know whether there are computers there, even in secondary schools.
If you look at the sector of ICT in the primary level in Koboko, it has been so down. There are very many primary schools around, but unfortunately, I try to move these primary schools, like only like 2 schools, they have those facilities. And normal, how they use it, they only use it to send their school.
Okay.
Not even typing exams, but to market their school. Those are private schools, of course. They use it as a
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much about that. Mr. Eli, are you still having something you want to say?
Yeah, I have a compliment on the social media part. Like for example, we are looking at, yes, it's true we can integrate social media in the curriculum, because we have to look at child-centered social media platform, not specifically Facebook. There are these social media platforms that are meant for children, like for example, KidsWorld. KidsWorld is one of the most comprehensive social media platforms. It has child games, safe chat room, something like that. You see, all these things are really basically needed. That's why I was focusing on, that's why I was saying, let us not focus on knowledge-based teaching of ICT. We focus on skill-based teaching of ICT and how we can integrate ICT in education. We can have ICT in education, rather we can have education by ICT, education with ICT, and education through ICT. So to me, I still believe that we can reach it. We can make it.
Okay, Mr. Tuhame, there is this question of schools don't have devices, don't have computers. So if we say that, like even right now in the Corona period, when the government said that they are introducing the lessons on TV, there was an argument in the groups that, what about kids in Kibuku Primary School or in Nangonde who don't have a TV? So should we do something which is having everyone, or we do something whereby urban schools can start and then others can follow.
Yeah, that's an important observation. And maybe to first take you off ICT. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, if we go to physics, for example, if we go to physics, do all schools have the labs? So it is the same thing, but the question is, for those who have them, what are they doing with them? So I think we need to go ahead. You've talked about how subsidiary ICT started. We start because you will not now, you don't have the powers and the capacity to go and first give computers, then you come and start. But what we do, we start with what is there, then the other players will see the gaps and come to support. So we have to really start.
Okay.
Then we keep spreading as we move along. Then the other things I wanted to talk about was that the group which is developing this curriculum, this content, it is to touch base with the NCDC. So that some of these materials, some of this content is vetted and aligned. Because at times we talk about the psychomotor skills, the cognitive, the pedagogy. How is the flow vis-a-vis the age of the learner? There are other technical things regarding pedagogy we need to look at. Once NCDC looks at it and gives their input, then we shall be good to go with something that has quality. And then possibly from, like in parliament, when the government has not brought an idea, a private member can bring. So the same thing here, we can start it from that way. And if it is accepted, it is fitted into the policy, then the timetables are made, schools are guided, ensure that they do it. Otherwise, the start is good, future ahead. Yeah, we need to keep within the confines of the policies existing.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, members. Actually, that one brings us to the way forward and conclusion. We are going to be concluding like 10 minutes. And I think it has been really a good discussion. So I just want members who have not had anything to say, what do you, we are on the way forward. If you have something you want to say, and then we finalize this session, and then we go and catch up with the State of the Nation address. Yeah, so Mr. Dumba, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, what do you think is the way forward? What your final remarks on this?
My remarks about this syllabus, Rogers and other comrades, we should remember that in the creation of a syllabus, the needs of the community and the trends around us, the major consideration. So as we nurture this syllabus, we should look at the future as we also borrow a leaf from our neighbors. Like we looked at the Zimbabwe syllabus, we looked at ICTL, and there's a lady called Shiba. They are using an international syllabus. But what is the future? Remember, we are not grooming typists or basic computer users. We are grooming people who are going to work and innovate in the fields of AI, cloud computing, cybersecurity, and so on. I was looking at the statistics of the U.S. labor something, the labor statistics in the U.S. And the future of ICT is in fields like, I go through the list quick, cybersecurity analysts, database administrators, AI machine language engineer, machine learning engineer, cloud engineers, and the like.
Okay.
So if we are to groom such people, it means we have to start early. Instead of thinking about teaching a university student how to use Microsoft Word, then when the person come up with a solution to the problems we are facing as a country, as a community.
Okay.
So this should be at the background of whenever we are creating this syllabus, talking about this syllabus, we should look at the background of this syllabus. For whom are we grooming and whom are we nurturing?
Okay.
So I'm even of the view that programming should start even as early as 6 years. Because there is a game my 7-year-old son was playing on Google. Google was giving you a simple game that would show you how to, it would make you put certain blocks in a certain order. And the boy was playing so well, even at a certain moment, he even went at levels where I hadn't reached.
Okay.
So students get scared, and that's my submission, Roger.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dumba, for that submission. He's going to inform. Members, I'm going to edit up this discussion and we'll put it on the ITAU YouTube channel. For members who will not have attended, can be able to get something. Then we can always base on it to discuss further. Mr. Ronald Mwanje, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Rogers and members. I think my contribution is also I wrote a comment. We are developing users or consumers, and we need to be part of the developers. And to be there, for me, I think we need to start up. We remove testing in second, like at least don't go into cut, paste. I mean, design some things that should be, I think, primary level and then O level, or senior 1, senior 2. Senior 5, 6, university should be doing serious work, having got the foundation in primary. And I talked about, in my comments, about the introduction or evolution of computers. We need to have evolution in primary. These young children are so inquisitive, curious, to be inspired. How did the computer start? We see it now, but what is its foundation? How did it start? That they can see themselves having that mind that I can also be part of this construction. Because we are using Facebook, but we are users. We are using Zoom now, but we are users. Someone is developing this, and we are just using it. And I think we are the same people who can also be part of the development and be in the system.
Okay.
I support early starting and then separating units. What's the work for primary, secondary, tertiary? We need to separate them, totally separate them, not like what primary, what secondary, what university. It should be different. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, but by the way, that issue of what primary, what secondary, what university, it can also be true because like in mathematics, you learn sets in primary, you learn sets in O level, you even up to university, you can learn sets. So there can be different levels of difficulty. Sandra Washburn, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm actually sending you an email. I work with Basil at Oysters and Pearls, Uganda, and we have some very strong opinions about how to introduce ICT in primary, which I will share with you because I don't want to take up the time of the call, and you can decide what you want to share with the rest of the team.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for joining in. We will be very glad to receive that and add on. Okay. Yeah. So members, we are actually Mr. Martin Nganda Martin.
Yes. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Nganda Martin.
How are you? How are you, Rogers?
Yes. I'm okay. Yeah, you can briefly introduce yourself and tell us what you think about the discussion. We are winding up in 5 minutes. We are going to be winding up the session.
Well, Nganda Martin, I work with the Ministry of Energy and Immediate Development. We also use some of the services from the National Information Technology Authority, Uganda. And if you look at their website, they have already deployed the NBI, that's the National Backbone Infrastructure. We are around Uganda, and I saw some people from up country. Rafael was talking about the issues of the infrastructure. So it's already there, but just that we engage the the government or like the National Information Technology Authority that schools, government schools or private schools, they need the services so that they can go ahead and they deploy infrastructure that's really within the community. Maybe the question would be that how ready are the schools? I had so many people talking about the issue of computer, the hardware, the softwares that they may not be existing. But of course, I think once we engage the government, I think they should be able to provide the feedback. But with the National Information Authority, Uganda, that's ITAU, infrastructure is already to address the issue of the internet. Now the issue, the other concern is how ready are the schools to take on the issue of the ICT, because they are having the teaching the pupils a computer when they have never seen one, but whereby we just continue to teach the learners that yes, we have the STEM unit or this the mouse piece, but when they actually have not able, they're not able to see maybe this is how it looks like, because you know, with the technology things keep changing, the different designs of systems every day, different designs are brought on the market. So it will be good for this. But yes, this is how the computer, how when someone talks to the computer, what are some of the things that they need to look at so that this is a computer.
Okay. Yeah, actually,
time is yes. Yeah.
Actually, Mr. Nganda, what you are saying, there is a school in Western Africa where a teacher was teaching computer, but was using a blackboard, and the kids had never seen a keyboard. So they took a photo when he was drawing the mouse on the blackboard, and it went viral. That photo went viral. Yeah, so I think even when it is a practical subject, like right now in the new curriculum, there are some schools which are not offering practical subjects like agriculture because they don't have a space for a garden. Yeah, so, but we can start schools which can embrace, then others will catch up, and others can always improvise, like that teacher in Western Africa teaching ICT without computers. Yeah, so members, that is our session today. And I want to thank everyone for coming in. Mr. Tuhama, are you still able to hear us?
Yeah, I'm on.
Yes, your final word as we wind up with this.
Yeah, this is interesting that people are really doing work behind the scenes. And I think we need to keep it up, and we need again to do some benchmarks and enrich our syllabus being developed. And then I will again repeat this, you need to touch base with NCDC for some technical guidance on how the flow should be, and some alignment in the meantime as we wait for the skills framework and the ICT policy to harmonize the ICT teaching and learning across the levels of education.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for coming for this session. There are a number of people who have been leaving comments. I've been seeing a number of comments. Mr. Ronald Mwanje was saying that the curriculum involved by teacher directly involved and breakdown. And Mr. Rafael Ayo was also saying that a name, maybe that should be our final vote. What should be the name? Should it be digital literacy? Should it be ICT literacy? Should it be computer studies? Should it be ICT essentials? Should it be the ICT at primary? What do you think should be the name? Because if you look at Zimbabwe, they had different names. Zimbabwe has computer science. It has the ICT. Then at A level it's called computer science. So we shall think of that. I don't know what you think should be the name for this, but I think the name comes up after the content has been created. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. I want to wish you all a nice evening, and we shall continue. We shall keep you updated as we revise this, and we shall keep in touch with other stakeholders like NCDC and others, so that we get something which we can always recommend schools. I know with time, even government will do this. Okay, have a nice time, and may God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I can see some people want to be the last to leave.
Bye, bye, bye.
Okay.